The author is working hard to save the manuscript, and the favorite baby will be collected and taken home first, and we look forward to the follow-up. Name: Jongjun. Gender: male. Would you like to participate in the brain-computer experiment voluntarily? Yes. Dr. Charliebe reconfirmed the information of the young man lying on the laboratory table. This is also the youngest experimenter in the 10,086th brain-computer experiment he hosted. This is the last time I remind you that the death rate in the experiment is 100%, and no one has survived so far. Are you sure you want to dedicate your life to this completely immature scientific research technology? Hearing this, Jongjun was stunned for a little hesitation, and then couldn't help but took a deep breath. After graduating from the North Sports basketball major, he, like most college students, was engaged in a job that had nothing to do with his major, and became a hand pancake boss. Because of his superb skills, he was loved by the girls in the college, and after that, he and a junior girl came to the point of talking about marriage. Bought a house and turned it into an unfinished building. His fiancée played poker behind his back, and he still played Texas Hold'em. The cake stand was confiscated due to the city's appearance improvement. I found a good friend and wanted to return the 150,000 loaned out, but was returned. Sentence: I treat you like a brother, but you actually asked me to pay back the money. Don't ask the doctor, let's start. Jongjun said firmly. Seeing that the other party had closed his eyes, Dr. Charliebe shook his head helplessly and stopped trying to persuade him. He turned his head and said to the students beside him, "It's working time now, turn off your game now. Kazakh customers can ask for it all day long, no one is serious." What? Still 0210. Ixu and food are still robbed, and I think I am happy E2E, one side keeps flashing the 7th level dog tag, and the other side is infinitely solo killed by the opponent. Play Galen. The student who was scolded so hurriedly put down his phone, muttering unconvinced, "Can I not pick up the phone if the enemy is flying away? The experiment is about to start. Once the machine starts running, there is no turning back. Do you have anything to say now? It's a last word." The student put his right hand on the mouse and his left on the keyboard, and gave Jongjun a look like an ultimatum. Jongjun opened his eyes again, looking at the glaring light on the top of the test bench. "If I can live again, I want to do what I want to do, don't care about other people's eyes, any house, car, ticket has nothing to do with me, just do it boldly, don't be timid. Play games if you want to play games, read novels if you want to read novels, don't eat if you want to eat, play basketball if you want to play, travel if you want to travel, and go to women if you want." The student raised his hand and said impatiently, "Well, you want too much." The experiment begins. Beep beep beep. Accompanied by the sound of the machine's operation, Dr. Charliebe looked at the test bench very nervously. After seeing the progress bar on it quickly reaching 100%, he immediately shifted his gaze to Jongjun. The other party was lying on the experimental table and had completely lost its vitality. Is it still a failure? Hey? No, why is the progress bar loading so fast this time? What exactly did you upload to him? Shouldn't it be the Encyclopedia of Humanity? The student shook his head with a smile and said, "No. I loaded him with the Travel Pit Prevention Manual, Basketball Encyclopedia, the complete collection of Black Silk Royal Sisters and the LOL mobile game installation package." Los Angeles Canyon High School Stadium. The national finals of the National High School League, NAS, are underway intensely. The fans who came to watch the game were tense at the moment, watching what happened on the court with great concern. This was an intense and exciting game, but no one expected such an accident to happen. Jongjun, the core scorer of Canyon High School, suddenly fell to the ground unconscious, and the medical staff at the scene had already gathered there. Let us bless this talented boy together, and hope that his ending will not be too bad. On-site commentary desk. The guest commentator passed the situation on the court to the ears of every fan watching the game. The head coach of Kenyan High School, Beasley, looked at the fallen Zhang Jun, and then glanced at the scoreboard. 58:68. Kenyan High trailed by a full 10 points. There are only 33 seconds left before the end of the game. It's too late. No one can score 10 points in 33 seconds. I'm afraid we will really lose this game. On the pitch. In a place where a crowd gathered, the medical staff who carefully examined Zhang Jun's body suddenly stood up and shook his head at the technical platform and the referee, saying, "Cardiac arrest. Serious condition. Immediate artificial respiration required and urgent transport to hospital." Hearing this, everyone at the scene looked at Zhang Jun very nervously. Cardiac arrest is not a trivial matter, and a little carelessness can even cause life-threatening. There are not a few athletes who died of cardiac arrest in national sports. "Let me." In the crowd, Westbrook, who had been watching anxiously, shouted with red eyes. He squeezed through the crowd and tried his best to wipe his wet eyes. Before waiting for the medical staff's consent, he fell directly in front of Zhang Jun. "Brother, it's impossible for you to have trouble. We said we would enter the NCAA together, join the same team, and enter the NBA together. This is our common dream. You must never leave me and escape alone." After all, Westbrook pouted, closed his eyes and lowered his head with a smile on his face. Zhang Jun woke up in a daze, still hesitating whether the experiment was successful, when he suddenly saw a chrysanthemum approaching in front of him. He subconsciously kicked the opponent away. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. What the hell? Hey! Did you wake up? How could such a thing happen? The medical staff gave Zhang Jun a strange look, then leaned over to check again. "It's strange, everything is back to normal, as if nothing happened. Zhang Jun, I suggest you follow me to the hospital for some detailed examinations. This should be the most correct decision for you." Looking at the person speaking in front of him, Zhang Jun quickly remembered some memories that did not belong to him but now belonged to him. The opponent was the team doctor of Los Angeles Kenyan High School, and the one who was kicked by me just now was the starting point guard of the Los Angeles Kenyan High School team, and also his friend and little fan Russell Westbrook. Beasley, the head coach of the Kenyan High School team, was watching his state and watching the score anxiously from time to time. There are also teammates around the circle who are also nervously paying attention to the score after making sure that they are all right. 58:68. 33 seconds. 10 points difference. This is not a game that can be easily reversed. Zhang Jun, who saw the live score, couldn't help shaking his head. If all that happened in front of him just made Zhang Jun start to doubt whether he had time traveled, then the scene that appeared next made him confirm this fact. LOL mobile game installation package is being analyzed, progress 1%, progress 2%, progress 3%, progress 100%. Welcome to the LOL mobile game, please choose a hero. Looking at the transparent frame that popped up inexplicably in front of him, Zhang Jun couldn't help but think of the days when he played LOL in those years. "When I was in high school on Friday after school, I rushed to the nearby internet cafe with my good friends. In college, I knelt in 5 rows with my roommates all night. Even after graduation, I would go to the nearby internet cafe at night to make hand pancakes." In his opinion, choosing a hero or not a hero is not a multiple choice question at all. "Because I have always had only one choice, and there will always be only one. Of course it's Yasuo, the happy man with the wind sword. If you don't give it, give it." As soon as this idea appeared in Zhang Jun's mind, the transparent frame in front of him immediately changed. Simulating the real environment, Gale Sword how Yasuo is binding, progress 1%, progress 100%. Simulated generation. Zhang Jun 0 height 201 cm, weight 92 kg, arm span 218 cm, speed 80, strength 48, layup 75, short shot 72, medium shot 68, long shot 65, dunk 68, pass 65, ball control 70, defense 64, rebounds 59, blocks 68, confrontation 66, bounce 70, sprint 69, exercise explosion 72, airborne ability 71, physical function 82, gold coin, 500, equipment, none, skill, rogue, passive. While moving on the court, you will accumulate fighting spirit. The faster the speed, the more obvious the improvement in fighting spirit. When the speed reaches a certain level, the physical confrontation will be increased by 1%, and the layup penalty will be reduced by 1%. It can be upgraded, and the full level will get additional promotion. What's the matter with this gold coin? Zhang Jun only saw the 500 gold coins at first glance. After such thoughts arose in the brain, the transparent frame in front of him changed rapidly. There are a lot of LOL mobile game equipment in front of me, and the price of each equipment is marked below. I see. This should be the equipment I need to buy when I go out. The 500 gold coins were also given to me by the system, so I'm quite sensible. As a mid-laner hero, Yasuo the Gale Sword, his responsibility is to take into account the situation of the other two lanes in the wild area at any time, and provide quick support. So don't hesitate. The first piece of equipment when you go out is of course to buy a pair of shoes. The system reacted very quickly. As soon as Zhang Jun had this thought in his brain, the shoe in the transparent frame was directly magnified in front of his eyes, and it was spinning slowly. Immediately afterwards, the gold coins dropped sharply from 500 to 100, the pair of shoes quickly disappeared, and new changes appeared in the equipment column. Equipment, boots of speed, increase speed by 2 points. Zhang Jun, we have to go to the hospital. The Kenyan High School team doctor uttered a voice to bring Zhang Jun's thoughts back to the court. Zhang Jun regained his senses and glanced at the other party. His teammates and coaches also looked over after hearing the sound, with anxious and expectant expressions. They haven't given up on this game yet, and this is a game that cannot be given up anyway. This is the NAS National Finals. Doctor, that is not the most correct decision in my opinion. For me, the most correct decision is to win this game with my teammates. Well done, you are indeed my brother. Westbrook got up and clenched his fists with both hands, shouting excitedly as if he had been spattered with chicken blood. Everything that happened on the court was also seen by the fans of the entire Kenyan High School arena. They were all applauding for Zhang Jun, and were moved by his dedication and competitive spirit. On-site commentary desk. The guest commentator said excitedly, Zhang Jun has stood up again, Kenyan High has not given up yet. However, there are only 33 seconds left in the game, and Kenyan High School is still behind by a full 10 points. This point difference. And don't forget, there is Kevin Durant, the second high school student in the United States, on the opposite side of Oak Hill High School. He will never allow the upcoming victory to be taken away by his opponent. The midline referee walked to the technical platform and clenched his fists to signal the continuation of the game. Kenyan High School ball rights. Westbrook quickly advanced with the ball, and then distributed the ball to Zhang Jun. Westbrook is very clear that the only possibility of Kenyan High School being able to achieve a turnaround lies in Zhang Jun alone. My brother has the fastest first step in California. A genius at LA Kenyans High. Zhang Jun was catching the ball, and he was guarded by Kevin Durant of Oak Hill High School, who was the most famous and talented player among high school students in the United States. Facing the opponent's defense, Zhang Jun was not timid at all, and even his whole body was in an extremely excited state because of the soaring adrenaline. He lowered his center of gravity, and after the 3-threat test, a false shot suddenly started. So fast! The starting speed of this first step made Durant couldn't help but let out an exclamation. The fans at the scene also started to shout wildly after seeing Zhang Jun pass Durant in one step. Zhang Jun rushed to the basket quickly, and the 211 cm big center of Oak Hill High School had already moved laterally in advance to help defend. Zhang Jun took off without any fear, and at the same time felt a strong will to fight surged out of his body, and the passive skill Rogue was activated. Boom! After the sound of a muscle collision, there was the sound of a basketball hitting the net. Zhang Jun made a layup against the pull bar in the air. How can this be? This is too exaggerated. The fans at the scene were already paralyzed. The guest commentator also sat there for a long time before reacting. The ball went in. Zhang Jun pulled the bar sideways while losing his balance, and his whole body almost flew out of the court. He scored a very difficult layup. The referee blows his whistle. Oak Hill High's 211 cm big center fouled. Zhang Jun walked to the free throw line. Swish! The crisp sound of a basketball hitting the net sounded, and the score was 2+1, and the score had reached 61:68. The head coach of Oak Hill High School, who was originally calm and relaxed, stood up very nervously at this moment, and he shouted anxiously at the court. Give the ball to Durant. Oak Hill High School ball rights. Durant's whole brain was still echoing Zhang Jun's extremely fast first step start speed just now. He had heard of a high school student in California who had a fast first step breakthrough. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com, but he never expected that Zhang Jun's first breakthrough was so fast that Durant could even say with certainty that it was the fastest first step he had ever seen in his entire high school career. Boom! When Durant dribbled the ball in a panic, Zhang Jun suddenly increased his physical confrontation near the center line. Durant, who was already restless, was directly intercepted. Zhang Jun stole the ball. It's still from Durant's hands. His hands are really long. After Zhang Jun stole the ball, he quickly rushed to the fast break. The 211 cm big center from Oak Hill High School had not had time to return to the front court when he saw Zhang Jun rushing towards him fiercely. In the transition between offense and defense, he had to immediately participate in the defense. Ha! He shouted hoarsely, wanting to defend Zhang Jun in this way. As a result, the latter broke through to the paint area and took a step to the left while catching the ball with his left hand, and then quickly took the right leg to pull the ball back to the right for a layup. Nice Euro step. Swish! The basketball hit steadily again. The referee blows his whistle. The 211 cm big center from Oak Hill High was swayed and fouled again. Zhang Jun continued to walk to the free throw line. It's another 2+1. The audience is crazy. At this moment, some fans have begun to realize what it is. If Zhang Jun made another free throw, he would have scored 6 points in a row and reduced the score to 64:68. This point difference is full of suspense, everything can happen. 35 seconds and 10 minutes. Can Zhang Jun really create such a miracle? Swish! Zhang Jun, who hit the free throw steadily, glanced at the timer. 21 seconds. There is still a difference of 4 points. Oak Hill High School should start pressing the clock if nothing happens. At this time, what Kenyon High School has to do is to do everything possible to get the ball. Defense. The audience is pressing. Zhang Jun shouted suddenly, and the teammates on the field reacted instantly. Westbrook quickly approached the bottom line and forced the opponent to miss the serve, while Zhang Jun followed Durant all the way to prevent him from receiving the ball. The sudden increase in defensive intensity made the players of Oak Hill High School extremely uncomfortable. Durant quickly got rid of it and raised his hands to signal his teammates to pass the ball. Durant blamed himself for the successful interception of the ball by Zhang Jun just now. He knew very well that if it wasn't because of his distraction, Zhang Jun wouldn't have such a chance at all. Now, Durant wants to prove to Zhang Jun that he is the second highest high school student in the United States, a genius with excellent strength and talent. Call. Because of the sideline referee's serve countdown, the 211 cm big center of Oak Hill High School had no choice but to bite the bullet and serve. The timing of this serve is not good. His pick remains the team's super high schooler, Kevin Durant. But Zhang Jun had expected that the other side would make such a pass. When the basketball flew to this side, he immediately got stuck with Durant. The two physically confronted each other crazily. Boom! Zhang Jun and Durant jumped up and stretched out their long arms to touch the basketball at the same time. This scene was clearly seen by all the audience at the scene, and Zhang Jun and Durant's extremely exaggerated wingspan also made everyone sigh. It's really long. The moment Zhang Jun touched the ball, he exerted force with his right hand, and at the same time quickly took it with his left hand to form a two-handed hold. Bring it to you. The moment he landed, Zhang Jun stole the ball from Durant again abruptly. All the fans couldn't sit still anymore, they jumped up and exclaimed crazily. The guest commentator also clenched his fist excitedly and shouted, Zhang Jun successfully steals the second time. After stealing the ball, Zhang Jun quickly rushed to the basket, and the four of Oak Hill High School defended together. The 211 cm big center was the first to bear the brunt. Again. Can you change someone? He had already personally experienced the power of Zhang Jun's breakthrough, so this time he did not dare to change the center of gravity at will. However, Zhang Jun took 2 steps directly from the free throw line to attack the frame, which still caught him by surprise. Duan. Seeing that Zhang Jun was about to attack the basket again, the 211 cm big center had no choice but to pull Zhang Jun down in the air. There was a sudden sound of muscles colliding with the floor, and Zhang Jun was thrown solidly. Seeing that his good brother was fouled maliciously, Westbrook rushed over and was about to hit him on the spot. Zhang Jun immediately stood up and stopped the opponent. The more furious they are, the better for us. Win this game. Zhang Jun stepped to the free throw line and made 2 free throws. 66:68. The audience applauded wildly and expected Kenyon High School to create a miracle. Oak Hill High finally realized what was about to happen, and they began to handle the ball more carefully. In the end, the basketball still came to Durant. Zhang Jun had no choice but to resort to foul tactics after repeated attempts to steal the ball to no avail. The referee blows his whistle and Durant walks to the free throw line. So Kenyon High School is still a little bit worse. After all, the score difference of 10 points in 35 seconds, if the score difference can be less, I am afraid they will really create a miracle. It is worth mentioning that Durant is the best free throw shooter in Oak Hill High School, and his high school career average free throw percentage reached a terrifying 82%. There is no hope for Kenyon High. On the pitch, Durant, who was intercepted twice by Zhang Jun, clenched his hands into fists and blew one by one. He knew very well that as long as he could score these 2 free throws in a row, Kenyon High School would be a complete mess. And free throws are really easy for Durant. Hey Kevin, have you seen the latest Scarlett Johansson movie? Escape from Clone Island, Scarlett is a real murderer in it. Durant glanced at Zhang Jun who was muttering blankly. He was very experienced and knew that the opponent was interfering with his free throw, so he pretended to be indifferent the whole time, shaking his shoulders intently. Stop pretending to be Kevin, I know you want to drink her bath water. Duan. The basketball hits the frame. Damn it. Durant grinned angrily and looked at Zhang Jun, then took a deep breath and turned his attention to the basket in front of him, calming down and preparing for the second free throw. Zhang Jun's trash talk continued to appear. I will tell the media about this later, so that the whole world will know that you, a pervert, want to drink other people's bath water. Fuck. Duan. The basketball hits the frame again. Oh my god, Kevin Durant missed both free throws. Chance at Kenyon High School. Zhang Jungkong grabbed the offensive rebound and quickly counterattacked. Behind him, Durant and the 211 cm big center struggled to catch up, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't catch up with him. Seeing that the time was about to run out, Zhang Jun raised his hand 1 step away from the 3-point line and threw the ball towards the basket. Let me in. Swish. Outside the Los Angeles Valley High School campus. That shot is really cool. You don't know, that Durant guy looked straight at that time, and he almost said, you can also make this shot. The guest commentator almost exploded the microphone, and Yu Kanshu www.yuyuganshu.com roared hoarsely, 3-point lore. Kenyan High School Jongjun, 35 seconds 11 minutes shocking comeback. Westbrook imitated Jongjun's last ultra-long 3-point shot and said excitedly. Throughout the 3 years of high school, Westbrook and Jongjun would walk on this road after school. Hey, brother, how do I feel that you are a little different from usual today? Westbrook suddenly stopped and stood still and said. Jongjun recovered from the scene of Durant clamoring to fight his NCAA again after the game, and was a little worried about what Westbrook had discovered. Unexpectedly, Westbrook behind him rushed over and bumped Jongjun lightly, then smiled. This is your last game in high school, and then you're going to college, to the NCAA. Don't worry about me, we will be separated for a year at most, and I will follow in your footsteps as soon as possible, and then go to your university. At that time, we two brothers will continue to fight side by side. Looking at the way Westbrook rolled his eyes, Jongjun knew that the other party had misunderstood, but he didn't point it out. He has completed 4 years of high school and helped Kenyan High to a championship at the NAS National Finals. Next, if there is no accident, I must enter the university to enter the NCAA and participate in higher level competitions. Of course, the premise is that the college team is willing to give him a scholarship, and it must be the full amount. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Los Angeles Compton Avenue has always been haunted by decadence and riots. No black child can spend his childhood here safely. The more sensitive and weak the child is, the more he can only pretend to be strong in a chaotic environment. Surrounded by gangs, drugs and guns here every day, it is really not easy to live here. Hey Jongjun, I watched the live broadcast of the NAS National Finals on TV, you are really amazing. 33 seconds and 11 minutes. I dare to predict that you will definitely become a big shot in the future. Beside the stinky gutter on the side of the street, Daly with a white beard sat on a broken office chair he picked up from nowhere, and said drunkenly. There is also a small TV set beside him, and the wires are connected to the public circuit by himself. Jongjun worried more than once that the poorly connected wire would fall off at some point and beat the old man to death. Hey Daly, thank you for your kind words. However, if I remember well, you said the day before yesterday that a player like me who can only break through will not be able to enter the NBA in the future, because he will be crippled by a strong defensive ball like the Pistons. So which one of your words is true? Daly with a white beard smiled and said, it's all true. By the way, I reminded you that my name is Daly from Monday to Friday, so please call me Chuck today. Jongjun waved his hands behind him, and then walked towards his home. Okay, Daly. The building is 3 stories high, with a large corridor in the middle, and railings on one side of the corridor. Looking down, you can see the open space at the bottom of the building, which is full of messy garbage. On the other side of the corridor are dilapidated houses, some without doors. There are about 20 or 30 houses on one floor of a house like this. I'm back. Jongjun pushed open one of the slightly plausible doors, and the purpose of entering was a very small dining table and bunk beds. That's pretty much the whole room. Xiaohe wore a white rabbit ear headband on her head, her shiny black hair fell on her chest along her earlobes, she wore a white shirt on her upper body to wrap her lower body, it was hard to see whether she was wearing shorts underneath, and her two big the long legs are draped over the other, and the little feet are wearing furry slippers, lying lazily on the chair and reading a book. Watching the Odyssey. Xiaohe raised his right index finger and put it on his mouth, playfully smashed his eyes at Jongjun, and then pointed to the kitchen next to him. When your brother comes back later, you have to help me talk about him well, just play ball and play for your life. I don't expect him to be able to enter the NBA to improve our family's life in the future. It doesn't matter if he is poor or poorly fed. First, we don't steal, and second, we don't rob. We don't take things that don't belong to us. We strive to be a useful person, and we don't bother society or others. Elizabeth Bowles too came out of the kitchen with a plate of fried steak while talking, and saw Zhang Jun standing outside the door. Dark, fat, and a little short, this is Zhang Jun's first impression of Queen Elizabeth Bars too. What's so cool about standing at the door? Come in for me to eat. Zhang Jun hurriedly sat down on his seat. Xiaohe lowered her head and took a sneak peek at Zhang Jun, the rabbit ears on her head fluttered accordingly. Elizabeth picked up a piece of beef for Xiaohe, and dropped a big steak directly on the plate in front of Zhang Jun. Derek told me everything, you suddenly fell unconscious on the court. Do you know that when I heard the news, my legs were so frightened that my legs went limp. You said what would I do if something happened to you? Your mother is still alive, has hands and feet, and needs you to play ball so hard. Xiaohe helped out and said, Mom, you can't say that. It's my brother's dream to be in the NBA. If a person doesn't have a dream, it's no different from a salted fish. So no matter what you say, the fire in his heart will never go out. Elizabeth glared at Xiaohe, her eyes were like those of a particularly vicious old man, and said, then I will blow out his fire with one breath. By the way, I'll give you a stick, you stinky girl. Seeing that her mother was angry, Xiaohe stuck out her tongue, chuckled and lowered her head, then secretly kicked Zhang Jun with her little foot under the dining table. Zhang Jun understood instantly, stood up, and said, even if you break the sky today, it's still my dream to be in the NBA. When I earn money, I will buy you a big house, the one with a swimming pool, so that you won't have to work 2 jobs in your life. Elizabeth's heart warmed up, and she stopped scolding her son, but whispered in her mouth, this brat was not raised in vain. After the meeting, Elizabeth got up and said, I'm going to sleep with your Uncle Harmon tonight. You two don't play late at night, go to bed early. Remember, don't fight on the bed. If you disturb the neighbors in the neighborhood and can't sleep, see how I come to deal with you. After Elizabeth left, Xiaohe glanced directly at Zhang Jun. Zhang Jun looked at him and waved decisively, no. Xiaohe put his hands on his chin, pretended to be very cute and said, good brother, just do it, okay. Zhang Jun shook his head decisively. Xiaohe didn't give up, she took Zhang Jun's hand and shook it. How about rock paper scissors? Zhang Jun still shook his head and said, my principle is that I don't wash the dishes even if I'm killed. Xiaohe gritted her teeth and said, if you don't wash the dishes, then let me do it. Okay, I'll do the dishes. No, I'm going to fight now. Wait, don't ride on me and hit me, where are you hitting me? Immediately, the sound of the two fighting and Xiaohe begging for mercy came from the small room. Steve Alford came to Compton Avenue. As head coach of the UCLA basketball team, he rarely sets foot on Compton Avenue. Because this is a famous slum. Ouch! The car that Steve Alford was riding in had stopped, but an old man suddenly appeared in front of the car, and the man swayed and lay directly on the hood of the car. UU reading www.uuganshu.com. Assistant coach Sid got down from the driving seat very upset, and it was too late for Alford to stop him. Sid said angrily, hey, you old man, don't you have eyes when you walk? The old man gave Sid a displeased look and said, boy, if you talk like that to the uncle, then I'll just lie down. What? Sid looked at the old man who was already lying on the ground with a puzzled expression, and Daly, who was watching the football game beside him, let out a laugh. Dude, a friendly reminder, lying down and not lying down are 2 different ways of paying. Send him away as soon as he is lying down now. Sid saw the crowd that was slowly gathering around him, some of them even put their hands inside their jackets. It was only then that he remembered that Compton Street was notoriously full of fish and dragons. It would be abnormal if there were no burning, killing and looting every day. He was so scared that he immediately got into the car. Alfred took out $200 from his pocket, put it in the arms of the old man, and said with a smile, sorry, this is our compensation for your loss." After seeing the money, the old man stood up very professionally, and at the same time, he did not forget to glance at Sid and said, "Let's have a snack next time." Alfred walked towards Daly, who kindly reminded him, and said, "Hello, can I ask you about someone?" "Zhang Jun from Kenyan High School." Daly muttered, "Are you looking for Zhang Jun again? This is the first wave of today. Going forward, there is a pig cage village, and there is a pancake stand in front of the door, and that guy sells it there." A friendly reminder, that kids' hand pancakes are amazing. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Ranked 23rd among high school students in the United States, and has the reputation of the fastest first step in California. In the just concluded NAS National Finals, he led Kenyan High School to win the championship in a shocking 33.11-minute comeback. Zhang Jun, the news about you has spread all over the United States this morning, and even ESPN reporters have made a special report on your game. Zhang Jun skillfully put the fried finger biscuits into a greaseproof paper bag, and Westbrook took it and handed it to a black boy, and at the same time gave him a very curious look. "So, what exactly do you want to say?" Zhang Jun said. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "I forgot to introduce myself. I am Bob, the head coach of the USC basketball team. Now I sincerely invite you to join us. USC already has a kaleidoscope attacking Nick Young, who is a favorite of heaven. He is a 5-star college student, and he is ranked 26th in the first round of the latest draft simulation. If you can still join us to make up for the team's offensive gap after Nick Young suffered a double team, we can definitely become a top team in the NCAA Sweet 16. It turned out to be recruiting for the college basketball team. Zhang Jun had expected it a long time ago. After all, the NAS National Finals had already ended. Those college teams were like cats smelling fishy. They were ready to move, hoping to invite players with excellent strength and talent to join them. Nick Young's scoring ability is indeed good, and he was praised by countless Chinese fans in his last life. He is strong and he is strong, and Nick Young is labor capital. If you can form an outside partner with Nick Young, it may really be a good choice. Just, why not help Nick Young? Zhang Jun couldn't help but said softly. Bob smiled, he could see this scene much more. Geniuses have their own arrogance, and those high school students who are somewhat famous in the United States have always had this temper. Nick Young has played in the NCAA for 2 years, and both experience and ability have been proven. It's something you don't have. If nothing else, Nick Young will participate in the NBA draft next year. If USC can break into the Sweet 16 and attract a lot of attention, he has almost no problem becoming a first-round pick. When Nick Young is gone, USC will be your team. Bob thinks this is a very good evaluation and treatment, and not any fresh graduate from high school can get the promise of his team core and leader. Of course, Zhang Jun is indeed worthy of such treatment, because his breakthrough ability is really amazing. And what about scholarships? Zhang Jun asked a question he was most concerned about. About the scholarship, Zhang Jun chatted with his elder sister Xiaohe all night last night. The first is a full scholarship, fellowship, also called a full scholarship by students, and the amount is about $50,000 to $80,000. The full scholarship will not only waive all tuition fees, book fees, board and lodging fees for students studying in the school, but also provide a standard daily living expenses for adults, from the time of entering the school to the end of graduation. After receiving the full scholarship, many students can even save a sum of money to buy a car for the entire 4 years of university. In other words, once you get the full scholarship, almost all the expenses of your university career in the next 4 years will be covered by the school, so you can go to school with peace of mind. The second type is waiver. Although it is called a half award, it is actually a kind of award for tuition fee reduction, and the reduction ratio ranges from 50% to 100%. These two kinds of scholarships are the highest in amount, and the remaining are a, ta, Research Assistant Awards and Teaching Assistant Awards are all service awards, and the amount of tax to be paid generally does not exceed $10,000. Taking USC as an example, their annual tuition fees are between $30,000 and $60,000, so a scholarship of $10,000 can really only provide very little help. Bob looked at Jongjun with some embarrassment and said, each university only has 5 full award places and 10 half award places every year. But the NCAA has a total of 24 competitions, and USC has 10 of them. The men's basketball team has occupied a full award spot for 2 consecutive years. So this matter may be difficult, but I can assure you of 1.5 awards. Jongjun frowned. He knew very well that even if there were no scholarships, Elizabeth would sell everything for him to go to college. It was not easy on Compton Street, and Elizabeth would work harder for it. Although most of the emotions with Elizabeth come from memory, but Jongjun really likes this dark-faced and kind-hearted person. Therefore, it would be difficult for Jongjun to accept if it was only 1.5 prizes. I am willing to offer you the full prize. Alfred took a deep breath, secretly thinking that he was lucky to arrive in time, otherwise Jongjun might really be snatched away by Bob. Seeing the arrival of old acquaintances and rivals, Bob couldn't help but snorted softly. USC is located on the edge of downtown Los Angeles, and UCLA is located on the edge of the rich area of Los Angeles. The basketball teams of the 2 universities are both in Los Angeles, and they belong to the PAC 1-2 and are the most direct competitors. The Parker 12 League is also one of the 6 most competitive and top-level leagues among the 32 leagues in the United States. Alfred, what do you mean? Bob said in a bad tone. Alfred folded his hands and said calmly, I just want to tell Jongjun some facts. Jongjun looked at Alfred and frowned, puzzled, and said, what fact? Alfred said, you rank 23rd among high school students in the United States, and you have the reputation of breaking through the fastest first step in California. Everyone knows about this. But I watched your game carefully at the NAS National Finals, and your breakthrough speed at the last moment is faster than ever. If it weren't for the end of NAS, I believe your ranking among high school students in the United States would continue to rise substantially. To be honest, I think you have the strength of the top 10 high school students in the United States. So, I hope you can join us and lead us to win the NCAA championship. Jongjun took a deep breath and was slightly shocked. It's not because Alfred was keen to discover his faster breakthrough speed at the last moment, but that sentence led us to win the NCAA championship. I laughed to death. Bob said sarcastically, if I heard correctly, you reading www.yuyugonshu.com you just said something to win the NCAA championship. That's right, you did reach the NCAA finals again this year, but you were beaten by 16 points by the little-known University of Florida, which is not even considered a strong team. More importantly, Jordan Farmar, the core of the team, has confirmed that he will participate in the draft this year. Core center Ryan Hollins and starting shooting guard Kedrick Bosman are also confirmed to participate in the draft. You lost 3 core players at the same time in one summer, and your competitiveness has dropped sharply. In terms of the latest strength prediction, you can't even score in March Madness. Why are you talking about the championship here without shame? Alfred didn't argue with Bob about this matter. In his opinion, Bob is simply dispensable at this time. Alfred still looked at Jongjun and said sincerely, I joined the National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA, in 1920, and we have won a total of 111 championships so far. This record is the first in the United States, and it is also the university in the United States that has won the most championships in the NCAA. Among them, the men's basketball team has won 11 NCAA championships, which is the most among all universities in the United States. Bob is right, we lost too many core players this year, Jordan Farmar, Ryan Hollins, Kedrick Bosman. Our strength has indeed suffered a sharp decline. But no matter what happens, I want to tell you that the Bruins always have only one goal, and that is the NCAA championship. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. Alfred and Bob, still arguing as they left business cards behind. Jong Jun didn't make a decision right away, he needed to think about it. Although he already has a tendency to choose in his heart. Westbrook left after helping. Although this guy's family is not rich, it is much better than Jong Jun, so he doesn't live on Compton Street. When leaving, Westbrook kept emphasizing to Jong Jun that no matter which university Jong Jun chooses to go to, he will follow him immediately after graduation next year. This guy is a little too brotherly. In the evening, Jong Jun practiced on a dilapidated basketball court nearby, which was a habit he persisted every day. I think it's better for you to join than to join USC. The old man Dai Li skillfully took a finger pancake from a stall beside him, and said while eating. Jong Jun stopped practicing, looked at him and said, "If you can't tell me a reason that satisfies me, I have to pay for this cake." Daly wiped his unshaven mouth, and said with a smile, "You brat, you're so stingy, don't worry, you won't eat for nothing." Although his strength has dropped drastically, he still made it to this year's NCAA finals. They have championship blood, experience, background, and fighting spirit, which is absolutely unmatched by USC. I watched that game, and the loss was not unjust. The opposite University of Florida has 5 star college students: Al Horford, Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, Chris Richard, and Torrey Green. These 5 are also known as the 5 Tigers in Florida, and they are very strong. Many people think it's a fluke that they won the championship this year. After all, it is the first championship in the history of Florida men's basketball. Florida didn't even make the Sweet 16 last year. But in fact, Buddha University has achieved an excellent result of 33 wins and 5 losses in the regular season this year, and entered the championship as the number 1 seed in the Central and Western Division. Although Florida still has habitual slowness in the championship games, they have never underestimated any opponent easily, and they can always adjust their state smoothly in the second half of the game. In the 4 championships, Florida has defeated Jackson State, Purdue, Butler, and the University of Oregon, and won the championship of the Midwest Division. Their strength is not as ordinary as most people think. What Jong Jun knows better than Daly is that the 5 players who are called the Florida Tigers by the fans were all successfully elected to the NBA. This is a very remarkable achievement. All 5 starting players of a team were selected to the NBA, even the Michigan 5 Tigers, which were all the rage back then, failed to do so. So Jong Jun was not surprised to lose to such a team in this year's finals. After all, the leader of the team, Jordan Farmar, is actually just an ordinary player after entering the NBA. Compared with Al Horford, Joakim Noah, and others, the gap is too far. Thank you, Daly. Actually, I have already made a decision, but I still have to discuss it with my family. Daly nodded to express his understanding, but he quickly looked at the today's newspaper in his hand because he thought of something. "Hey, it's Sunday and you should call me Chuck." Jong Jun put away the basketball, waved his hand behind him and said, "Okay, Daly. Son, no matter what decision you make, I will support you." Elizabeth handed over the decision to Jong Jun. She has little culture, little foresight, and much less the ability to help her child with these issues as other parents do. But as long as Jong Jun made a decision, she would definitely support him without hesitation. "It's a pity, why didn't Harvard University invite you? Otherwise the 2 of us can be together every day." He studied at Harvard University as a junior, majoring in law, and won a full scholarship. It is not easy to get a full award in law at Harvard. At present, Jong Jun has received invitations from 5 universities, and only one of them is willing to offer a full scholarship, and the rest are almost all half scholarships. In addition to sending people from Southern California to negotiate with Jong Jun, Ohio State University also sent an assistant to contact Jong Jun. It's just that they didn't even want to offer half a prize, and they bluntly said that they needed Jung Joon to play as a backup scorer. Jung Joon still remembers what the teaching assistant at Ohio State University said when he left: "With your characteristics, you can only play as a substitute in your freshman season. Do you really think those players in college are as high school players? Give you an advice, to understand who is the #1 college student in the United States now, and where to play." Looking at the 5 invitation letters in her hand, Elizabeth suddenly interrupted and said, "Don't consider the universities outside Los Angeles. Not only is there no full prize, but it is far away from Los Angeles." The stinky girl thought I was annoying and ran to Massachusetts. Massachusetts. If you go further, I will really be alone. This is also the reason why schools like Harvard did not come to recruit Jung Joon, because they were too far away. Jung Joon rolled his eyes and said, "That's not what you said just now. You said that no matter what I choose, you will support me." Xiaohe agreed and said, "I also suggest that you stay away from Mom. You know life in college, believe it or not, when you make an appointment, Mom will come to remind you to wear a condom." Elizabeth blushed, let alone she really had such thoughts. Now these young people are really not paying attention to safety, they only know how to pursue a sense of reality. Pooh! Realism of fart, Yu reading www.yuuganshu. The calm old lady has been carrying a gun and a stick for many years, but I don't know what is realism? Boy, listen carefully, as long as you promise me to stay in Los Angeles, I will find you a fair-skinned, beautiful and long-legged girl tomorrow. Hearing this, Jung Joon waved his hands again and again, and said solemnly, "What are you not? I just want to be closer to my mother." By the way, Mom, do you have that kind of bigger girl? Jung Joon chose. In fact, it is more suitable for him no matter from the consideration of the full award or the value of the team coach. The most important thing is that Jung Joon thinks what the old man daily said is right. After a team loses 3 starting core players at the same time, the goal is still to compete for the NCAA championship. Not available. Jung Joon hopes that he can join a team with championship background. Without him, he just wants to be closer to the NBA. He doesn't think that a high school student ranked 23rd in the United States really has the strength to enter the NBA. Entering the NBA is the deepest memory that Jung Joon found in his mind. Before that, Jung Joon tried his best to enter the NBA just to give Elizabeth a good life. Now after contacting Elizabeth, Jung Joon has the same idea. Jung Joon found the phone number on the business card and quickly called Alfred to tell him his decision. Alfred was so crazy on the phone that he was very excited, and immediately said that he could get Jung Joon to join, and he would definitely become a strong team at the championship level again. When Jung Joon heard Alfred's strong self-confidence on the phone, even he himself began to wonder if he was the Onanamillion genius. Jung Joon spent the entire summer vacation selling finger cakes and practicing basketball every day. During this period, several other schools came to Jung Joon to discuss admission. After learning that Jung Joon had decided to enroll, they only showed a slight regret. It can be seen that the teaching assistant at Ohio State University is right. Tens of thousands of high school basketball students become college students every year, but there are still only about 35-star college students selected every year. Even for the Platinum Generation 03, which had been hyped up a few years ago, there were only 36 5-star college students selected at that time. Xiaohe returned to school early, because she had already reached the internship period, and when she left, she kept complaining that some stockings were missing. Jung Joon originally wanted to return her, but there were several holes that he didn't know how to explain. Elizabeth packed Jung Joon's luggage and said, "Eat and play as you study, don't always think about saving money. First, we don't steal, and second, we don't rob. We don't take things that don't belong to us. We use the money we earn and don't compare ourselves to others, but we can't live too badly." Jung Joon has long been used to Elizabeth's random thoughts, and he knows that he must not answer the phone, otherwise he will have to talk all afternoon. Zhang Jun wanted to take the luggage, but Elizabeth grabbed it tightly. She said with red eyes, "You really don't want me to see you off? Compton Avenue is not too far from downtown Los Angeles." Zhang Jun quickly waved his hands and turned around and said, "It's all right, I'm not a child." Elizabeth looked at Zhang Jun's back for a long time, and finally remembered something and couldn't help shouting, "Son, you forgot to bring your finger cakes, eat them on the way." The louder Elizabeth yelled from behind, the faster Zhang Jun ran in front. Zhang Jun took the purple line of the subway to the station east of the city center, and was about to take the MTA bus number 60 and number 53 directly to the University of California, Los Angeles. "Hey bro, are you a freshman reporting?" Zhang Jun saw a young man who was as tall as himself, walking towards him mysteriously wearing sunglasses, while looking left and right from time to time. Zhang Jun nodded and admitted, and the latter immediately took out a lot of photos from his pocket. "School brother, don't say that brother didn't take care of you. Look at all of these. They are all your gentle and lovely seniors. Whoever takes a fancy to calls brother." After the young man finished speaking, he saw Zhang Jun's vigilant eyes. He has seen this scene a lot, and people who are away from home will inevitably pay more attention to him, thinking that he is a liar or something. "Don't worry, I won't charge you a penny more." Zhang Jun didn't believe it and said, "Then you have to work hard for a long time, why?" The young man jerked and said, "For free whoring, the water here is very deep, and you won't understand if you tell me." Zhang Jun really wants to say that there is something he doesn't understand? He completely sneered at this kind of people who like whoring for nothing. After receiving the photo, Zhang Jun looked at it carefully for 20 minutes and almost threw it in the trash can. He is not such a person. Afterwards, he took the bus directly to the school gate. Seeing that Zhang Jun was handsome, several welcoming seniors greeted him immediately. From this point of view, he is a good person who can deal with him. Several people took him to the dormitory and left their contact information, agreeing that they must get to know each other well during the orientation week later. The bedroom is a standard triple room with a living room, sofa, computer desk, TV, and air conditioner. The decoration style is similar to that of a hotel. Zhang Jun put the photo under the pillow, only to find that the opposite bed was in a mess, with quilts and tissues in a mess, and there were even a few celebrity photo albums on it. An hour later, Zhang Jun left the dormitory and went to the basketball training arena. Daly reminded Zhang Jun long ago that the biggest difference between a college basketball team and a high school team is that the players and the overall strength of the team are stronger, and that the players care most about perfect training facilities and systematic training methods. For example, the old Coach K of Duke University has always set the school's training facilities and training programs on par with the NBA with high standards and high requirements. Before entering the training hall, there was an endless stream of crackling basketball slapping. In fact, the players of the Bruins have been training at the school's training ground a month in advance. They took the recent loss in the NCAA finals as a great shame and motivation. "Hey man, this doesn't belong to you. If you want to play ball, go to the basketball court on the playground. This is the Bruins practice arena." Aaron Aflalo looked at Zhang Jun and warned. The other players training on the side also heard the sound and looked over. The short Darren Collison said with a frown, "It's impossible for the students not to know that this is where we train. It seems that this is a freshman." The tall and mighty Alfred Aboya agreed and said, "This guy is not short, maybe he is a good basketball player in the street. He admires us who can become D1 players, so come and pay your respects." Aaron Aflalo didn't care that much. Seeing that Zhang Jun hadn't left yet, the emotion on his face was getting worse and worse. That retarded Bamut must have opened the door and sneaked out to post photos again, that bastard. "Hey, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com boy, come and throw two and hurry home." Aaron Aflalo threw the ball to Zhang Jun, and the latter was not polite, and after catching the ball, he took the ball and patted it on the ground. Crotch dribble, figure 8, back dribble, reverse crotch dribble. Zhang Jun dribbled back and forth for a long time, but he just didn't shoot. Darren Collison couldn't help but said, "Will this kid dribble here all afternoon and only shoot those 2 at night?" Aaron Aflalo touched his head angrily. Labor and management ask you to throw 2 balls, you wait for a long time to pretend that you are paralyzed. I'm here to find fault. Boy, don't say I won't give you a chance. 3 balls, bullfighting rules, if you win, today's training hall will belong to you. On Compton Avenue, when those fart kids wanted to compete with Zhang Jun for the basketball court, they often used this method to determine the ownership of the basketball court. The most important point of the bullfighting rules is that the offensive team can only dribble the ball 3 times. After the 3 dribbles, whether you choose to shoot or lay up, you must end the offense immediately. This summer, Zhang Jun was already in a panic on Compton Avenue. After knowing that Zhang Jun was on vacation, all the young people went to other places to play. As a result, he could only practice alone every day. No problem. Zhang Jun is looking forward to the strength of his teammates in the future. After all, even Daly said that college players are different from high school players. Darren Collison clapped his hands, Alfred Aboya whistled, and other practice players gathered around curiously. "Fuck him, Aaron. Let him know what a quasi-professional player is. Don't make him cry, after all, he is our primary school boy." The stadium was quickly emptied. Aaron Aflalo waved triumphantly to a few people on the side, and then prepared to take a penalty kick from beyond the 3-point line. "Aaron, right? I'm from Los Angeles, and this is my hometown, so can I have the first possession?" Zhang Jun said suddenly. Aaron Aflalo threw the ball to Zhang Jun indifferently, and then returned to the defensive position. "So what if I give it to you? You think you can beat me? I'll let you take 1 shot. Call." Zhang Jun, who received the ball, didn't hesitate at all, didn't have flashy passing steps, didn't have messy street ball moves, just a simple step on the right side to accelerate and break through, and he passed the opponent directly. Swish! The basketball hits the basket steadily. Aaron Aflalo looked behind him in shock. Darren Collison opened his mouth and couldn't help but said, "Did you see a big yellow mouse get in just now?" Alfred Abaya nodded and swallowed, "Soon." Aaron Aflalo reacted, quickly waved his hand and said, "The ball just now doesn't count, I wasn't even ready." Zhang Jun said indifferently, "Then, do it again." This time, Aaron Aflalo lowered his center of gravity and stared at Zhang Jun with full concentration. As long as the opponent started, he could instantly keep up with him. Slap! Zhang Jun dribbled the ball sharply on the right, and Aaron Aflalo immediately took a step to the right. At this moment, Zhang Jun quickly pulled the ball back to the left and went to the basket again. Swish! Go in! Aaron Aflalo was anchored in place. This time, both Darren Collison and Alfred Aboya were shocked. They found that the kid in front of them was not as simple as they imagined. There was something about this breakthrough. Aaron Aflalo bent down and cursed, "Grandma, my shoelaces are loose. Your ball just now was luck. You scored." Zhang Jun held the ball again, and Aaron Aflalo paced continuously with both feet, while opening his hands and swinging his body back and forth. Snapped! Zhang Jun changed direction before blasting the ball vigorously, and then made a tentative step on the right. Aaron Aflalo was not fooled. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Jun raised his right foot to test his footsteps and took another step to the right. At the same time, he pulled the ball with his right hand, and Aaron Aflalo instinctively moved to the right to defend. Swish! Zhang Jun pulled back to the left again and easily broke through the basket and made a layup. If Darren Collison and Alfred Aboya still felt that the kid in front of them had something to break through in that ball just now, then now they have to start to attach great importance to each other. It's a tentative step for Penny Hardaway. Alfred Aboya looked at Darren Collison in surprise, and said, you mean Anthony Hardaway, who fans call Jordan's successor? Darren Collison nodded affirmatively. Anthony Hardaway has won the love and imitation of young fans because of his elegant playing and unparalleled imagination. Darren Collison, who is also a guard, is the most loyal fan of Anthony Hardaway. He has imitated and learned Anthony Hardaway's breakthrough skills more than once, so he is so familiar with Jong Jun's breakthrough steps just now. This kid is the most skilled college player I've ever seen with this technique. On the court, Aaron Aflalo had already realized that the kid in front of him might be a tough guy, but he would never admit defeat at this time, and he would lose face in front of his teammates. Jong Jun received the ball and signaled that there was one last ball. Aaron Aflalo pursed his lips and looked at Jong Jun's shoulder all the time. He still remembered Coach Steve Alford had taught him. Defensive breakthrough depends on the opponent's shoulder. As long as the opponent's shoulder does not pass, the opponent can always be defended. Jong Jun felt a hand on his shoulder, which was considered a violation, but he didn't care. He turned sideways and accelerated suddenly to the basket. Facing Aaron Aflalo's slightly better defense than the previous 3 times, he chose a back-turned layup. Scored easily. Although such a defensive choice will not be easily passed by this kid, it can't restrict his movement at all. When you get to the basket, it's really not easy to defend a player of this height and wingspan. Aaron was blown away. Darren Collison gave a detailed explanation of this breakthrough. Aaron Aflalo was overwhelmed. He looked at the young man in front of him and said, "Why is your breakthrough so powerful? Who are you?" "My name is Jong Jun. I am a freshman. To be precise, I am a new player of the Bruins. Today I came here specially to meet with you and get acquainted with you in advance." Aaron Aflalo is about to cry. "You call this a meeting to get acquainted? I'm so up by you." Darren Collison immediately thought of what had happened, and exclaimed, "You are Jong Jun from Kenyon High School. The fastest first move in California." Alfred Aboya nodded and said, "I just said how familiar this figure is." It turned out to be the guy who scored 11 points in 33 seconds in the NSAA Finals. Aaron Aflalo noticed the key point of Jong Jun's last sentence, and said, "Wait, you said you are a new member of the Bruins. Could it be that you are one of the 2 who the coach said can bring the Bruins a championship?" Jong Jun didn't know who the other person was, reading www.yuyugonshu.com, but if nothing else happened, he should be one of them. At this time, Luke Richard Mbamut, who was out for a film, returned to the stadium. After seeing that Jong Jun was also here, he took off his sunglasses with some joy. "Hey, Junior, why are you here?" Jong Jun and Luke Richard Balmont returned to the dormitory. Coincidentally, they lived in the same dormitory. The previous one with the photo book was Mbamut's bed, and the other bed was said to belong to another person who joined the Bruins team this year. The Aaron Aflalo who was blown up by you is our captain, a veteran who has been with the Bruins for 3 years. In the past 3 years, the Bruins have reached the NCAA semifinals twice and the NCAA finals once. He is a participant. In short, he is a player who can shoot 3-pointers and defend. He also has some ability in the mid-range post. Darren Collison was a backup before and should be our starter this year. He has a balanced offense and defense, and most importantly, he plays super unselfishly. Alfred Aboya is a big center with a height of 211 centimeters. He has a strong body and is not very effective on the offensive end, but he is very active on the defensive end. The most important thing is that he is our secret weapon to solve the Twin Towers of the University of Florida. When mentioning the University of Florida, Mbamut naturally put away his carefree emotions, revealing a hatred and fighting spirit. This is not the first time Jong Jun has heard about the Florida Twin Towers and the 5 Tigers. He asked curiously, "What about you?" Mbamut chuckled, "I'm the best defensive player. Of course there is another identity, Master Whoring." "Hey! What's going on? Someone ground a hole in my photo book." After the bullfighting just now, Zhang Jun keenly noticed something strange in his body. After returning to the dormitory, he moved his mind, and a transparent frame appeared in front of him again. Zhang Jun 1 height 201 centimeters, weight 92 kilograms, arm span 218 cm, speed 83, strength 49, layup 76, short shot 73, medium shot 69, long shot 66, dunk 69, pass 66, ball control 71, defense 65, rebounds 60, blocks 69, confrontation 67, bounce 71, sprint 70, exercise explosion 73, airborne ability 72, physical function 83, gold coin 100, equipment, boots of speed, increase speed by 2 points, skill, rogue, passive. While moving on the court, you will accumulate fighting spirit. The faster the speed, the more obvious the improvement in fighting spirit. When the speed reaches a certain level, the physical confrontation will be increased by 2%, and the layup penalty will be reduced by 2%. It can be upgraded, and the full level will get additional promotion. If I remember correctly, after I bought the boots of speed last time, the speed in the property bar has changed to 82. This time not only the speed has changed to 83, but all other attributes have also increased by 1 point. At the same time, that 0 becomes a 1. Zhang Jun guessed that the change from 0 to 1 should be due to a change in level, and the reason for his successful upgrade may be the bullfight. But it's a little too far-fetched for me to be promoted just for one bullfight. Perhaps the previous game against Oak Hill High School in the NSAA Finals, and the 2 consecutive months of practice on the dilapidated basketball court on Compton Street, are the key reasons why I was able to upgrade. And this bullfight is just a finishing touch to upgrade. Zhang Jun intends to find an opportunity to experiment and see what is the root cause of his ability to upgrade, so that he can work hard. Suddenly, 4 icons appeared in front of Zhang Jun's eyes at the same time. The names of the 4 icons are Zhanggang, Fengbai, Step Qian, and Gust. Although the 4 icons are all grey, except for Gale, a small and sign appears above the other 3 icons. The 4 icons do not have detailed information marked, but Zhang Jun, as a Yasuo player who played 10,000 games, instinctively learned E at this time. That is, click on the and sign on the icon before stepping. Skill, step forward. Active. The first step breaks through and accelerates to gain 1% movement burst, and the speed increases by an additional 1% after passing people. It can be upgraded, and the full level will get additional promotion. The moment the skill appeared, a large number of memories sprung up in Zhang Jun's mind like mushrooms after rain. In my memory, Zhang Jun frantically trained his breakthrough ability day and night on the dilapidated basketball court on Compton Avenue. Spring and autumn came, until he suddenly combined his own breakthrough characteristics in an actual combat game. From quantitative change to qualitative change, naturally, it has a stronger breakthrough ability. This is stepping forward. In just a few seconds, Zhang Jun experienced a year of hard training in his mind, and finally improved his breakthrough ability. At the same time, because of this upgrade, his body became stronger and lighter, and his muscles became stronger. If Aaron and I had another bullfight now, I'm afraid I don't even need any breakthrough steps, and I can completely get rid of him by directly relying on the first step to break through the explosive speed. This is no longer a technique. This is completely crushing the breakthrough speed. If you can't keep up, you can't keep up. It's a bit like the déjà vu of electric cars and fuel cars in the previous life. The next day, Zhang Jun and Baemut arrived at the training hall on time. Captain Aaron Aflalo did not feel resentful because of Zhang Jun's 3:0 brutality yesterday, but took the initiative to help Zhang Jun with systematic training. Warm up, stretch and run backwards. Strength training, stand upright with calf raises. Bounce training, sideways vertical jump. Speed training, pull tires. Power workout, medicine ball toss. Many high school students' training is completely messy. In order to improve their ability, they always like to finish training after exhaustion. The price of this is that their whole body will be very sore the next day. We are quasi-professional athletes, and we don't train to exhaustion under normal circumstances, and before the competition, the coach often arranges swimming training to relax the muscles. When Aaron Aflalo was imparting some training experience to Jong Jun, a man with a fat face of a baby walked in at the door. I heard that this is the training hall of the Bruins. Kevin Love patted the pork belly on his body and said. Aaron Aflalo looked back and forth at Kevin Love and wanted to say, "This guy is really fat, is he here to play?" Kevin Love stretched out his fat hand and said, "That's right, I'm here to play. Coach Alfred said I was the last piece of the puzzle, and with me we could win the NCAA championship. I didn't even think about it, so I came to report directly." Alfred Aboya frowned and glanced at Love. What is needed most now is a power forward player, but no matter how he looks at the fat peer in front of him, he looks like a center forward. Love turned his head to look at Alfred Aboya and said, "Don't worry, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com, I won't steal your center position, I just play power forward." Darren Collison couldn't help shaking his head. He didn't believe that Love was really playing power forward. A player at the power forward position needs to have a certain ability to switch defenses and supplement defenses as well as shooting ability. With such a fat body and such a large weight, can he do it? Love took a sip of Coke and nodded confidently, shaking the fat on his face and saying, "I can do it, I'm the most accurate three-pointer in Oregon." Coach Alfred walked into the training hall, and at the same time clapped his hands enthusiastically, accompanied by assistant coach Sid. In fact, Alfred had already arrived at the school 2 days in advance, and he was just waiting for the arrival of Jong Jun and Kevin Love. "Guys, I finally meet you." Alfred gave Darren Collison, Alfred Abea, Jong Jun, and Love a high five. At the same time, Jong Jun and Love are welcome to join. To be honest, I was very excited after hearing the news that Jong Jun and Love agreed to join. I know you don't know them very well, so I don't know why I'm so excited. Let them show us their strength now. Who is willing to challenge Jong Jun Oneo Nun? After Alfred spoke, he looked at Darren Collison and Luke Richard Mbamut expectantly. One of the two is also a good Oneo Nun breakthrough player, and the other is the strongest defensive player in the team. The contest between the two of them and Jong Jun will definitely be very interesting, and it will perfectly demonstrate Jong Jun's strength. What surprised Alfred was that after he finished speaking, all the players subconsciously stepped back and shrank their necks. What happened?